Maverick Morgan, number 22. Dogs from New Jersey today. I'm taking.
You got rain on or something, man. What's
It's
going on with the hair?
hot out there.
You sweat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working.
Dang, those are some
It's not that bad.
fancy shoes.
Yeah. Coach Parham is in charge of fashion on our staff, so I let him design 2 pairs of shoes for me for practice. This is one of them. The guys seem to like them.
Is this the louder of the
They
two?
like them. Yeah. Yeah. The other one's not quite as loud, but you can see we got UI on there.
I like it.
The other ones have TNT on them. So, yeah. Well, thanks for coming out, guys. Obviously, an exciting time of year with practice starting. This is one of those days, you know, for a coach. You know, I've been waiting for this thing to get here. It's finally here. So, we've done some things, you know, obviously with workouts and gotten a good idea of some of the things our guys can do over the course of 13 weeks, 8 weeks in the summer and 5 weeks in the fall. But we're never able to string days back to back to back until now. So I think that's really when you learn more about your team and learn a lot about your team. So we're excited to get started today. I think the guys are even more excited than we are. We've got a great group of guys that really want to be good, very coachable, and they've been really fun to work with thus far, and anticipate that being the same here in the early season.
You got 13 players on scholarship, and 10 of them never played a game for Illinois before. Have you ever had anything like that, or talked to anybody?
Hope to never have it again. That's when I tell people, I tease them, I'll say, you know, I heard Lou Holtz speak once. He said he goes to bed at night and sleeps like a baby, wakes up and cries every hour. You know, and that's how you feel sometimes with our inexperience and our youth, but it also brings a lot of energy. I mean, these guys have a lot of energy. You know, we talk a lot about having no energy vampires in our program as we did last year, and you know, I think these guys exhibit that at a pretty high level. So it'll be fun. We got a long way to go. Our learning curve right now is pretty steep, but I think they're eager, and that's the most important thing.
Coach, how do you handle that during what you find out that you recognize?
Yeah, Shannon, that's a great question. I tell you, we spent most of the morning there going through our system. And we're all kind of sitting in there as a staff saying, how much are we ultimately going to be able to put in? You know, are we going to have to cut some of that back? Are we going to have to be vanilla? Is that in the best interest of this team? You know, we've got to figure that out. I think more than anything, on a daily basis, I keep telling myself with 9 new players, I'm going to have to be very adaptable. So we've got a plan of when we're practicing and what days we're taking off and when we're putting stuff in, but I'm going to have to be, and as our staff is going to have to be more adaptable probably than normal would be my guess.
And this schedule the new format by starting this early gives you a little flexibility.
It does, Mark. I think one of the things that's really neat is you're going to be able to come up for air basically after every 3 days or 2 days. That's kind of how we positioned our practices here, to use the 30 days that are available to us within the 42-day window. And that's, you know, my guess is there's going to be times where we decide to practice on a day we were supposed to take off and give off on a day we were supposed to practice, and it gets back to that adaptability piece I was discussing there with Shannon.
How excited are you for tomorrow? How did this idea come up, and how excited are you and the players to do something?
Marketing here does a great job. I mean, we've got a lot of great people here at this university. I always say it takes a village. We've got people that are really good in different areas, and marketing's no different than any of the other areas. They've been exceptional with coming up with ideas and being creative, and you know, we'll hope and pray that tomorrow's weather's good and go from there. But I think our guys it'll be fun. Now we're going to practice hard twice tomorrow, and it's going to be tough and difficult. When we get there tomorrow night, I want our guys to enjoy it. I really want to interact with the student body and the community. I think that's important here at Illinois.
What were some of the other options discussed, and why did you choose the Street Jam over those other options?
Honestly, Rob, I'd say the biggest thing was just it was something they brought to the table. I thought it was very creative. I thought it was outside the box thinking, and you know, I kind of like to. You know, we've adapted a saying that we took from our SEAL team experience that, you know, if you stay inside the box, you stay small. If you go outside the box, you grow and get big. And I thought it was an outside the box thought, and I told them, let's roll with it.
Would you eventually like to get a Midnight Madness kind of in the State Farm something?
You know, I'm not a fan, Jeremy, necessarily of practicing at midnight because I don't know if it's great for the student athletes. I like this concept. Yeah, I like this concept that we're doing tomorrow night. Certainly in subsequent years, could we do it inside? Sure. You know, I'm open to about anything that marketing comes up with that's creative, if they have a purpose behind it, which they did in this case. So, you know, I wouldn't rule that out, certainly. You know, I think what used to happen is the rule is you couldn't start at till midnight, and then the next day most coaches are trying to go doubles, and your rest recovery shortened, and I don't know if that's what's best for the student athlete. So I love the fact we can start it in our normal practice block today.
You talked about being adaptable. You had to be adaptable last year with the roster that wasn't your guys. I know you got a bunch of newcomers, but are they more suited for what you want to do on the court? Are we going to see more of that this year?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to find out. Obviously, we've recruited a lot of them. But, you know, I love the guys that we had last year that, you know, that we inherited. Those guys were great guys. We wouldn't be in the position we're in with our program right now if those guys wouldn't have laid down a foundation on concrete. And they did. And so now it's kind of up to us. We've talked about it with the older guys in particular to kind of build floors on that concrete, keep moving the thing up, moving the needle. And, you know, I think the guys are excited to do that. You know, obviously we look at guys, you know, and how they fit our style of play, and because we've been able to recruit more guys that fit that style of play, I certainly think that lends itself to leaning in the direction that we want to play long term.
You got freshmen that people have been looking forward to seeing for a while. What do you see from those guys so far, and what do you expect out of them?
Well, I think they've been coachable and teachable. We need them to mature and grow up fast. Right now, the biggest thing is they haven't been consistent enough, and they know that. I mean, you know, they've got to be consistent. They got to grow up fast. We've got 5 of them. We've got a lot of new guys. We don't have time for, you know, a long period of time for them to mature and grow up, so we've really challenged them with that.
And going into Devontae and John, they can't be newcomers, but they've got to come in and be ready right away.
No question. You know, obviously those guys' experience level will be helpful. I thought Sam McLaurin's experience level was really helpful last year. And we've got some guys that are back. You know, a lot of people like to focus on, and naturally so, the 9 new guys, because that isn't, Mark and I were talking about a really high number. But we have some veterans that have done some quality work here that are an important part of what we do. We need them to lead our young guys, especially early, in terms of teaching them how we do things in practice.
What are your expectations for the Lions?
Well, I think, first of all, most importantly, what's pretty cool is Ray has high expectations for himself. He does, which is pretty neat when a player has that for himself. I think Ray's a guy that's capable of guarding the other team's best player most nights, certainly on the perimeter, and then being a guy that can score on the other end and make plays. He's gotten himself in the best shape he's ever been in his life. We've really encouraged him to do that because we're going to rely on him to be good at a lot of things. He's very versatile. He brings a lot to the table, and I know he's excited to, you know, get a chance to put on that uniform. I mean, he's dreamt about it. He would tell you since he was younger. He used to go to games in here when he was younger, and now he gets a chance to put it on here. It'll happen soon here when we play a game. He's pretty excited about that.
To follow up, Maverick Morgan has the Augustine jersey today, which he won the rebounding.
He won the rebounding battle last time out. You know, we award that jersey. James is the all-time leading rebounder here at the University of Illinois, and anyone that leads the practice in rebounding the next time out, Rob, gets to wear that jersey.
Who's leading the SEAL team charts so far in the? Sorry, I had to kick a ball.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah,
do 2 things at once.
Okay, who's leading in terms of efficiency and lifting, and who's in the best shape right now?
That's a tough call. You know, it's interesting. Ray and Nana have gotten a lot, and rightly so. I mean, Nana's over 250 pounds. Ray has lost a lot of body fat, weight, gotten stronger. But, you know, the guy that's hit me the last couple days that probably deserves as much kudos as those guys is Bertrand, because he was out with the labrum injury. He had the surgery. He's come back, and he's tested stronger in almost every area. He's lowered his body fat. He's gained 15 pounds. And to do all that while hurt and out and not able to practice with us full go throughout the summer is pretty amazing. I think it shows his commitment level is pretty high.
As you start practice now, you got a guy whose status you don't know about yet. What's that situation been like for you? How you guys dealing with that?
Well, obviously, you always want to know, and we continue to have dialogue back and forth with our compliance office and the NCAA, and you want to know. I mean, the kid, most importantly, you know, it's the kid. The kid wants to know. I mean, I feel for the kid. And we're going to know here sooner than later. We're finishing up a couple things and should have a formal answer here soon.
If he can play, John, what does he bring to the equation? If he
a playmaking guard on the offensive end that can make guys better and score the ball and make decisions. He's very good off pick and rolls.
John, I know it's early, but with so many new guys, how cohesive is the shooting so far? It looks like they're pretty well together so far.
You know, there's two parts to that equation. One is being close on the court. One is being close off the court. I think amazingly so, and instructor McGuire, our SEAL team instructor, said to me, Kim, couldn't believe how from first time this summer, second time this fall, how much more guys communicated and connected. I think off the court we're more advanced than on the court. You know, am I concerned about that? You know, as coaches, we're always concerned about that. Not overly, though, because we haven't practiced back-to-back days at all. So for us to build that closeness, if you will, on the court, I think it's going to take some time.
Well, Coach Beckman always talks about youth brings excitement. Is that the case here?
Oh, no question. You know, but I'll be honest with you, Jim, we're excited around here all the time. We love it here. We love being here. We love working with our guys. You know, we have a positive environment. We talk about that all the time with our players. That was the same last year when we were one of the older teams, and it's the same this year when we're a younger team.
When you were talking about guys from last year doing something like this, some of the reasons you're in the position where you are now, how would you describe where this team is or what you feel like you're on the verge of?
Well, this team's kind of at ground level one in terms of growing this particular team, but our program, I think, has generated a lot of excitement because those guys laid that foundation down on concrete. The way they handled themselves, the way that they responded to adversity, the way that they battled and fought, really set a great precedent for what we're about and how we want to do things. And the fact that we've got 5 guys last year that were, or 4 or 5 guys that were a part of that is huge. You know, so they know that. They know what resiliency can do for you. They know how to respond to adversity the right way. And I owe those guys, as I said at the banquet, you know, there's not anything I can do to repay those guys. I'm forever grateful to those seniors.
With Nana, last year you raved about his summer, how much work he put in, number of shots he made. Was he able to replicate that in some way this year?
You know, not necessarily on the shooting part. Right. Nana's one of those guys, you give him something, he really locks in on it. And what he really locked in, Mark, was his body. His strength, his conditioning, his weight, his body fat. And when you give that kid something, he's usually going to knock it out of the park, and that's what he did. You know, he went up to over 250 plus. He lost body fat while he was doing it. He completely changed his nutritional habits. I mean, he's really done a great job with his body. He's much physically stronger, both lower body and upper body.
Obviously, you signed you've got some really noteworthy player wise. How much momentum does that give to the program? Or how much buzz does that?
Well, I think it gives momentum. Recruiting does, you know. But I think all the things right now are leading in that direction. You know, the guys we have on our team, the excitement we have about this season, the way the seniors handled themselves last year. You know, what's going on with the State Farm Center? What's going on with recruiting? You know, it's a really neat time to, you know, for me to be a small part of what's happening here at the University of Illinois. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Yep. Appreciate it, guys. Yep. Thanks for coming out, guys.